Breaking free from the sex demons that follow you. Garza had always felt a shadow lurking in the corners of her life, a presence she couldn't quite name but could always feel. It was in the way her relationships burned to hot and to fast, leaving her empty and ashamed. It was in the dreams that haunted her, vivid and suffocating, where faceless figures whispered things she couldn't remember upon waking. It was in the way her body sometimes felt like a prison, a battleground for desires she couldn't control. Her grandmother had warned her about the family's curse. She'd spoken of generational ties to spirits of lust, entities that fed on the weakness and vulnerability of the women in their bloodline. Garza had dismissed it as superstition, but as she grew older, she couldn't ignore the patterns. Her mother, her aunts, even her sister, they all seemed to carry the same weight, the same struggles. Garza tried to outrun it. She threw herself into work, into hobbies, into relationships, but the shadow always caught up. It was as if something was feeding off her, twisting her thoughts, her desires, her sense of self. She felt like a puppet, her strings pulled by forces she couldn't see. One night, after a particularly intense dream, Garza woke up gasping for air. She felt a heaviness on her chest, a coldness in the room that shouldn't have been there. In that moment, she knew she couldn't ignore it anymore. She reached out to a spiritual counselor, a woman who specialized in breaking generational curses. The process was grueling. Garza had to confront the pain and trauma that had been passed down through her family, the open doors that had allowed these attachments to take root. She fasted, prayed, and underwent deliverance sessions where she renounced the ties that bound her. It wasn't easy. There were moments when she felt like giving up, when the weight of it all felt too much to bear. But slowly, she began to feel lighter. The dreams became less frequent, the urges less overwhelming. She started to reclaim her sense of self, to see her body not as a prison but as a temple. For the first time in her life, she felt free. Garza knew the battle wasn't over. Generational curses weren't broken overnight, and the shadows of the past still lingered at the edges of her mind. But she was no longer afraid. She had the tools to fight back, the strength to protect herself. In the end, Garza realized that breaking free wasn't just about her, it was about her family, her future children, and the generations to come. She was breaking a chain, one link at a time.